Viewers, the latest news about the ongoing conflict between Ethiopia, Tigray, and Eritrea is that, yes, according to the latest reports, heavy fighting continues on the sides of Sheraro, and Tigray Defense Force sources claim that Tigray Defense Force soldiers has regained control over Sheraro. As if you remember, in the previous video, I informed you that Ethiopian National Defense Force and Eritrean Defense Force have taken control of Sheraro and the surrounding areas. And the General of Tigray Defense Force also confirmed the news that Sheraro is under the control of Ethiopian National Defense Force and Eritrean Defense Force. But now, according to the latest reports, Tigray Defense Force has gained control over Sheraro, and reports are being received from several Tigray Defense Force sources that Tigray Defense Force soldiers have entered in Sheraro, and Sheraro is now under the control of Tigray Defense Force. And heavy fighting is still going on in the vicinity of Sheraro. On the other hand, the ongoing fighting in Amhara and Tigray region is intensifying day by day. Reports have been received from several sources that heavy fighting has started again on the Adi Arky front. And Adi Arky is under the control of Ethiopian National Defense Force and its allies. And Tigray Defense Force soldiers are located on the sides of Adi Arky. These reports have been received from several sources that heavy fighting is going on the Adi Arky front. And according to reports, Tigray Defense Force soldiers are trying to get control on Adi Arky and B30 highway, because there is currently a fight on the sides of Med Sabri on the B30 highway in the Tigray region and on the Deadbed front. As if Tigray Defense Force soldiers take control of Adi Arky or B30 highway, Tigray Defense Force will gain sufficient control over the ongoing fight on Deadbed front and Med Sabri. Whereas on the other hand, 7,000 Somali troops will be taken to the front line of the war that is going on in northern Ethiopia, as we get information. And the residents of Ethiopia are sending troops to the war that is going on in northern Ethiopia. And in Oromia, Sidama, Somalis are sending special forces to the front line. And the region of Oromia is sending 20,000 special forces. The Somali region is sending 7,000 special forces, and Sidama district is sending 3,000 special army. And all these soldiers will take part in the fight between the federal government with the Tigray Defense Force. But on the other hand, Ethiopian Air Force carries out a new drone strike in Mekelle, the capital of Tigray, and other major cities in the conflict-hit region today morning, an official confirmed. And the third bombing in a week. At least 12 were killed and 15 hurt in Tuesdays and Wednesday in Tigray. And a ceasefire was called in March this year, in which some aid was allowed to enter the Tigray region, but food, medicine, banking services, telecommunications, and agriculture services remained largely cut off. Whereas on the other hand, spokesperson on Foreign Affairs and Defense spoke today of his concern at the ending of the 5-month ceasefire in the Tigray region of Ethiopia. The launching of a fresh offensive by Eritrean and Ethiopian government forces in Tigray awakens fresh fears of a return to the human rights abuses which hunted the conflict prior the cessation of violence earlier this year. And he said, I want to express my deep concern at the fresh outbreak of violence in the Tigray region of Ethiopia. And prior to the ending of the ceasefire, following the attacks by Ethiopian government and Eritrean forces, Tigray had witnessed a swathe of human rights abuses, including murder, forced displacement, and sexual abuses. And there have been several aerial attacks on the Tigray capital Mekelle, with ground fighting also taking place in southern Tigray. And the Ethiopian government and Tigray leadership must redouble its effort to restore peace immediately, to create the space to find a solution to the 2-year-old conflict. And for 2 years, we have witnessed gross human rights abuses taking place during the conflict in Tigray. And millions of people have been displaced alongside the thousands of innocent civilians who have perished. And according to the United Nations Refugee Agency, some 9 million people across the Tigray, Amhara, and Afar regions of Ethiopia have suffered from severe food shortages, lacking access to food. And the situation is compounded as a consequence of the drought which is impacting across the whole of the Horn of Africa. And the international community must act immediately to ensure that the fresh outbreak of violence is brought to an end immediately. And said Ireland has a long association with the Tigray region, which was at the center of the famine in the 1980s, which inspired Levy Aid. And I want to call upon the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Simone, to act immediately to use the Irish government's position on the United Nations Security Council and the European Union to demand that the international community respond immediately and decisively. So viewers, so far the latest update. For more latest update, please subscribe channel. Thanks for watching.